I think Ellen has the cold I had earlier this month, huh? Coming up next on News 8, Road Survival, the tips you can use to avoid something like this and how it could prevent serious injury to you or your passengers.
This is now one of the greatest issues we face as a state.
Big questions to answer: how Illinois became buried in pension debt, why some say it's time to make some drastic changes to the state's constitution.
Live from WQAD, News 8 at 5 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Denise Sinitka.
And I'm Jim Mertens. Thanks for joining us at 5. Highway accidents involving debris are among the most unpredictable and dangerous. You may remember just last week a piece of flying debris killed a driver on Interstate 80 in Davenport. Richard Medema of Walcott was killed when a piece of road debris smashed through his windshield. It's something drivers cannot plan for before it's too late, but there are ways to protect yourself and your passengers. News 8's John David is live in Coal Valley with a few ways drivers can stay safer. JD?
Jim, out here on the interstate, troopers call it the 3-second rule. Leaving that much time between cars allows time to react. These scenes represent hidden hazards on the highway. Flying debris causes more than 50,000 crashes nationwide each year. Drivers could avoid some by not following other vehicles too closely.
Keeping a safe distance even from the vehicle in front of you. Because if something would like a blown tire would happen, you have a time to react.
With hazards like this metal bracket littering highways, troopers advise following the 3-second rule between vehicles.
Those 3 seconds between vehicles just gives you a little more time to hit the brakes or react if something happens.
Flying debris killed a Walcott driver just last week, a tragedy that shows just how quickly something devastating can happen.
The sooner you see the situation or the hazard, the better chance you have of not being involved in a crash or being hurt because of it.
I'm very cautious when I drive, so I do look ahead for things in the road.
Trooper Dan also suggests staying in the right lane as much as possible. That gives drivers more options to avoid troubles.
If you jerk the steering wheel too much, you're more likely to get hurt or lose control and get hurt.
With potential hazards near the highway, drivers also need to be aware of things like loose mufflers.
You don't want it to fall off in front of another vehicle and all of a sudden somebody gets hurt.
Careful driving can't stop these scenes, but it will help to prevent deadly statistics. And if you should spot something hazardous on the road, it's okay to call 911. Officers can remove it safer than trying to do it yourself. Reporting live in Coal Valley, John David, WQAD News 8.
Thanks, JD. You have so little reaction time. And Iowa State Police say accidents involving speeding, distracted, or drunk drivers happen far more often than accidents involving flying debris.
Police are investigating a rollover accident in Geneseo, Illinois. It happened at the intersection of East 1200th Street and Route 6. That's a couple miles west of the Geneseo city limits. Police say the driver went off the road and into a ditch, then rolled into a cornfield. The driver was treated at a hospital. Police had to close the road for about 10 minutes. Police are still investigating an accident that killed a 3-year-old boy. It happened Sunday afternoon in the parking lot of All Saints Catholic School in Davenport. Police say 3-year-old Braddock Shovlin died when he was hit by a pickup truck. Davenport police say this is an ongoing investigation. Illinois State Police say a week-long crackdown on Chicago's expressways has shown some positive results. The new anti-violence push comes after several shooting deaths and injuries on expressways. In just the first week of the crackdown, officers made 27 arrests and confiscated 7 guns. Officers have also made several drug and DUI arrests.
I know it's not designed that way, but you have to admit that having an extra day of nice weather in February was pretty nice for a leap day.
It counts for something. James Zahara is in the Weather Center for us tonight. Hey, James.
Hey, guys. I guess we kind of took a big leap when it comes to our temperatures these past few days or so, but we're going to get slowly back to reality because we do have a lot of changes in store. Let's first talk about the daytime highs, and they were awfully warm, at least for 2/3 of our viewing area, where temperatures easily made their way in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Of course, we did see a frontal boundary that has been slowly making its way from north to south throughout the early morning and midday hours. Now that boundary has shifted all the cool air across 2/3 of our viewing area, especially around the northern 2/3. Still pretty warm in Galesburg and Burlington, but wow, take a look farther north. north, already upper 40s, even around 40 degrees that we see around Galena. We expect those temperatures to chill even more as we head through the overnight hours, just in time for our next round of moisture. And that blue, as representing snow, that will be making its way across some of our hometowns. I would say in areas, especially north of the Quad Cities, we've got advisories and warnings out there. That's going to be the best chance for seeing some accumulating snow. Farther south, roadways will be manageable. But nonetheless, there's going to be some snowfall out there, and we'll break it down as to how much we're looking at and what type of impact it's going to have for the rest of the week coming up in just a few minutes. Denise?
Thank you, James. Tomorrow's a big day in the presidential race. Your Voice, Your Vote coverage starts with a preview of Super Tuesday. There are more voters up for grabs tomorrow than any other day on the political calendar. In all, 595 delegates for the Republicans, another 865 for the Democrats. The latest CNN ORC polls say that Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton could be in for big wins in the 11 voting states. The poll gives Trump the support of nearly half Republican voters. With 49%, the businessman tops his closest competitor, Marco Rubio, by more than 30 points. On the Democratic side, Clinton leads Bernie Sanders 55-38. The Republican race keeps getting more personal, with Marco Rubio and Donald Trump trading insults instead of talking issues. Today, Senator Rubio continued his attack on Trump, calling him a con man with a spray tan and small hands.
On issue after issue, what he's saying to people isn't true. It doesn't match his record. And yet somehow it's gotten to this point. It's gotten too far. It's called a con job. And we are not going to allow a con artist to take control of the party of Lincoln and Reagan.
And then I have to listen to a little guy like Rubio say, oh, he's a con man. He's a con man. Now think of it. No, but it's so insulting. And he had no choice. I guess he had to come up with something because he's getting creamed in the polls. He's like 20 points down in Florida. You know, in Florida, where he comes from, this guy couldn't be elected dog catcher right now if he ran.
Tomorrow is Super Tuesday.
On the Democratic side, Clinton's popularity among African-American voters is expected to help her in the southern states, while Bernie Sanders says he has a shot in the northern states.
Still ahead at 5, rescuing a failed system.
What Illinois lawmakers did to create a big pension challenge and the change, some say, will help reverse the problem.
And we will go ahead and break down the snow, when it's going to arrive, when it's going to end, who's going to get the most, all on that and more right after the break here on News 8 at 5.
You're watching WQAD News 8 at 5 with Jim Mertens and Denise Hanitka.